Parashat Shoftim. First of all, I would like to wish on our behalf I hope it will help, but I wish with this shiur should be for the hatzlacha of our dear friend in Poland, Barbara, who is having some very difficult time, and I wish that she will be able to find herself a job and her life will be a little easier b'schut the Torah that we're doing here. So Parashat Shoftim, there's two issues I would like to talk about and see how we connect them. Previous years we talked about the chashivut, the importance of making judges or establishing law and order in the land. But in Parashat Shoftim there's two maybe unrelated issues that will Be'ezrat Hashem try to connect them together. The first one is the parasha of Eglah Arufa, the decapitated calf that we kill, and the concept of going to a milchemet reshut. Milchemet reshut is a war in which you don't have to go, but there's a war and those who are exempt from that war. And of course, what does it have to do with us in the pnimiyut, with us? I won't make it long because it's just hard for me to speak. But in Parashat Shoftim, he talks about the Eglah Arufa. Eglah Arufa is an incident which we find a body. We did it in the Gemara. We find a body in the field, and nobody knows who did it. Comes the Chachamim with the measuring tape. They measure which city this body is closer to, and the Zkenim, the elders of this city, come up and they decapitate a young cow, and they say our hands did not spill this blood, and the whole ritual takes place, and so on and so forth. Now, it is obvious that the skenim of the village, of the city, did not kill it. It's obvious. So why, and that's a question everybody asks, so why do they have to go? It says, Yadenu lo shafchu et adam hazeh. Our hands did not spill this blood. If it's obvious that they didn't do it. I mean, we do have a concept that we say, En adam mesim atzmo rasha. A person would not say, I'm a wicked person. Why would a person say, our hands didn't spill the blood? When they didn't spill this blood? So Chazal tell us that maybe, and this is something scary. Chazal tells us maybe the skenim of that town, of that city, the elders, the sages, were not able to influence the people in a proper way. They didn't offer a positive attitude to the people. People were not positive. They didn't say, listen, I do something little for you, and he does something little for him. and he does something little for him. And this act of kindness becomes a chain reaction that somehow this person would not have been killed. Because, believe it or not, our actions are contagious. If you are among people who are positive, most likely you'll be positive and successful. If you are among people who are negative, most likely you become negative and you won't be successful. You see, we have our own businesses that we take care of. We have a lot of bad things that happen in the world. You hear about, this famine in this country, and there are floods in the other country, and in this country there's a civil war, and X amount of thousands of people were killed and butchered. And you say to yourself, what do I care? What do I care? It's far there. Here comes the Jabba Chachamim and tells you, what do you mean, what do I care? Aren't you concerned? It's one of the things which is unbelievable in humans, is the ability to interact and to feel the pain and the joy of another human being. Rabotai, when you don't feel the pain of another human being, you're like an animal. I read an article about this Israeli photographer. He took a picture of a small kitten that was hit by a car. He takes pictures of animals. And he was petrified. The truck, somebody was directing the truck, was about to run him over and said, wait, stop. People say, well, it's a cat, what do you care? So he was able to direct the truck. So he saw the mother cat. She came over. She sniffed at that baby. She cried a little bit. She did her little meow. She sniffed it again. She cried again. And she realized it's not going. She turned around and she walked away. A cat can feel the pain. Cat. You, as a human, cannot feel the pain of another human being? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? It doesn't make a difference if you're a Jew and the guy is an Arab. It doesn't make a difference if you're a Jew and the guy is a German. It's a human being. This is how we transform ourselves from low creature animals to humans. And you need to know that you should care. And when something happens to a place, a community place, like a city, a town, or even a congregation, and when things deteriorate to the point that nobody cares, it is first of all the fault of the leaders. If you have a place that nobody cares about, take a congregation where no activities are going on, but people don't care. They come in to pray and they go. They put that filling, they put a talib, and they go. But nobody cares if there is a minyan, there isn't a minyan. If there is Sudah Shlishit, there's not Sudah Shlishit. If the place is clean, the place is not clean. Don't look at the people. Look at who's sitting on top. That's why the Torah comes and tells you, Chachamim, the Zkenim, you were supposed to teach the people You were supposed to inflict this attitude of caring and positiveness, that people will feel welcome. That maybe this guy who killed him, maybe he didn't have anything to eat, and he had to come down to this level, he had to kill another person to survive. Where have you been? You sitting on your throne? No. You should know that your hands spilled that blood. And now you have to come and you have to say it out loud. Yadenu lo shafchu. We did what we need to do. This is... And we don't ask the people of the town. Where's the leaders? You want to see if you have a place, a city, a state, country, a congregation, a home. You want to see the quality of the leaders? Look at the caring of the people. And this is, by the way, the problem which I am very concerned, and Bezat Hashem, I'll speak a lot about it. Because whoever listens, and I hope you do something, because you're not going to hide. This is the problem of American Jewry. We don't have leaders, and we don't care. We don't care if Jerusalem is going to give him back. We don't care if they're going to outroot Jews from the land. I don't understand. Are they going to return the Turks to Turkey, those who invaded Cyprus? Huh? I didn't hear anything about it. 1973, Turkey invaded Cyprus. There was no war, and now they settled down. And yet, nobody says a word. Even the United Nations says they've been there for so long, it's impossible to outroot them, to do ethnic cleansing. But Jews, it's okay. You know why it's okay? Because you keep your mouth shut. Because you don't care. Now, if you don't have a leader, well, get yourself one and start acting. Because you will have to say, Yadenu lo shafchu et hadam hazeh. What would you say if Chas v'Shalom something happens in Eretz Israel and it's another Holocaust? What would you say? How would you live your life? How would you be able to look at the mirror? What would you do? And that's because there's no leaders. Because those who you think are your leaders are busy doing other things. I don't know what. But they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. People need to be taught to care, to make chesed, to arrange chesed. A city that doesn't have an active chesed organization, it's in a big problem. A congregation, a community, a neighborhood. And the fault is on the hand of the leaders. And they were not able to escape. Because as the Egla Arufah comes, they will have to say, we did whatever we can in our power. And people will say, really? You did everything in your power? Remember that. You have to feel the pain of those who are not married. Those who cannot get a shidduch. You should feel the pain. Rosh Hashanah is coming. Do you know if there are people here in this community or in other communities that are going to celebrate Rosh Hashanah alone? Do you know? Did you check? Or you don't care? You know that this is spilling blood? Because a guy or a person or even a couple who sits alone at home, and it doesn't make a difference what age they are. They could be old or they could be young. They're sitting at home alone on Rosh Hashanah and they have nowhere to go. It's like spilling blood. While you would feast on the food and fill your bellies, there's going to be someone who's going to be alone. Are you going to be able to say, ידינו לא שפכו את הדם. My hands are clean. Do you know if there's anybody who's going to be sitting in the hospital attending a sick relative? Is anybody going to check the hospitals to make sure? Are you going to offer your home? Or you just don't care? Snap out of this small-mindedness of, what do I care? It's not for me, it's not happening to me, I don't care. It's being a very small-minded person. And be big. Be a big person with a big heart. Big person is not muscles. A big person is not kavod. He's not a person who writes check and everybody runs after him like dogs, like takes after dogs. A big person is a person who has a big heart. That has enough room in his heart for many people. Do you have any friends on which their families are not going to celebrate Rosh Hashanah? And they will. Did you see if they have any friends like this? Maybe you can invite them to your homes. That's the Eglah Arufa. You run like a chicken with no head. There's no head. And that's the reason that's the reason why we take the head off the Eglah. That's the reason why we take the head of the Eglah, to show that this was done with no head. This was done without any leadership. Take the head off. Now, there's another ordeal. And the ordeal is about a person, about Milchemet Reshut, going to a war where they announce, excuse me, anybody here engaged a woman and didn't marry her? Yes, out. Anybody build a house and didn't inaugurate it? Yeah, out. Anybody who planted a vineyard and didn't harvest it yet? Yeah, out. You're not going to a war. Why? So Chachamim tell us, we want a person to have his mind on the war. We don't want his mind to be preoccupied. Let's try a different avenue. What is the common denominator in all those things? A person who engaged a woman and didn't marry her. A person who built a house and did not inaugurate it. A person who planted a vineyard and did not harvest it. What's the common denominator? Anybody want to try?
Hard work. Unfinished business.
What?
It is hard work to reap his fruits.
Okay, and you?
Unfinished business.
Unfinished business. So 1 second. Because of your unfinished business, you're not going to a war? No. Let's look at it this way. Let's look a little different. There are many things in our life that we go about, wars that we fight ourselves. There are wars that we have to. Battles, internal, personal battles that we fight. And those battles, you have to go. But here's Milchemet Reshut. That's something you don't have to do. You don't go to a war. Why? You go to a war. All those three things represent a process of doing, asiyah. Mark's favorite word. When a person is involved in doing something, he started, didn't finish. So he's in a process of doing that all the time. So when you're in a process of doing, waiting to pick the fruit, you are exempt for so many other things. You're exempt from the wars, from the battles in which you don't really have to. If you want to, you can do this, or you don't have to. In other words, to be involved in continuous action, there is no need to go to a war. When you're involved in building, all this thing represents something. Establishing a home, marrying a wife. In the process. Well, what happens when I'm in the process? In the process, I'm working. I engaged her. I didn't marry her. Why? Because I need to prepare myself to the wedding. So I'm working. I build a house. I didn't inaugurate it. Why? I have to move. I have to. A process. I'm doing this. I'm working. I planted the vineyards for 4 years. I can't enjoy the fruit. I need to maintain the trees, the vines. I'm in the process. When you are working and you're continuing, there will be many things in which you're exempt to do. But if you're sitting down and you're doing nothing, you have to go to war. You have to start fighting. It will be almost like this. If you're sick, you need to take antibiotics. If you're sick, your body temperature rises up. The temperature burns the bugs. That's why we have a temperature. If you exercise, if you run, or you jog, or you exercise for a long period of time, take your temperature, you see your body temperature goes up a little bit. Almost to what you will call a low-grade fever. Instead of being 98.6 or 0.7 Fahrenheit, you will go to 99.5. So you naturally burning the bugs. That's why it's good to exercise. When you exercise, you don't get sick. Because you're constantly doing something. If you're going to sit down in a clean room all day long like this, you're going to get sick. Then you have to go to a war. You have to fight. You have to fight the boredom. You have to fight the things. That's why somebody needs to tell you, be positive. If you are positive, you'll get up and you do things. If you have a positive attitude, you'll get up and do it. All right. So I got a rejection from this place. I'm going to try this place. Rejection from there. All right, it wasn't meant to be. I'll go to the next one. I'm not stopping. I'm always in the process of looking and trying. And this door is locked. Okay, so there's another door open. So this door is closed. There are 50 other doors. I'm going to find the door. I'm going to find it. But when you're sitting down and says, that's it. I give up. I don't want to be involved in asiyah, in doing anymore. You don't? Okay, now you're going to go to work. Not only the soldiers who fight in the front line are important, also Rosie the Riveter, the American thing from World War II, just standing like this, riveting thing. That is also important. Why? Because that's the backbone of the people. This is the backbone that allows the troops to go forward because they know they have somebody at home to back them up. That's why a place needs to be always involved in doing something. Lectures, learning, everything, all the time. And the most important thing is learning. If you learn, you transform yourself constantly into becoming a better person. When you don't learn, you have to start fighting. And when you fight, you go to war, sometimes there are casualties. And that is something that we must remember. How do we deal with those things? So when you go to war, you need a leader to guide you. Because if not, you're going to fail. And this is all the two, in a way, extremes in this parashat. In a way, don't make any sense. You see that they're actually connected together. It's a thread that goes through the whole entire parasha. And you know what? It does start with Shoftim and Shotrim. You have to give yourself people who will guide you, who will tell you what to and what not to do. This is mamash at the foothills of Rosh Hashanah. You should know that the process is a process that's always going. When you're involved in the process of tshuva, it's always a process. So you're always in it. But to that, Be'ezrat Hashem, we're going to leave for next week. During the week, we'll talk a little bit about that. As the time comes, we'll speak more about Elul, speak more about tshuva. Meanwhile, take advantage of every moment of your life to be engaged in positive construction, in positive actions, which would allow you to grow and to be engaged in the process all the time. And if there is no leaders around, b'makom she'en ish tiyeh ish. In a place where there's no leaders, well, sometimes you need to rise to the occasion and become the leader yourself. So I wish on all of you Shabbat Shalom. And it should be a very spiritual and meaningful Shabbat. And this Shabbat, Be'ezrat Hashem, will be the beginning for our salvation, spiritual, personal salvation. And Be'ezrat Hashem, we should become ready for this Shabbat, but yet for Rosh Hashanah, slowly. Guys, time does not stop. Time keeps on ticking. You don't have time. Make tshuva, care, and only through this we'll make this place into a better place. We'll make this world into a better world. And this is the true redemption. We're going to free ourselves from the stupidity of the life that we are at. And we'll be able to elevate this place into a place that is going to be appropriate to be called Mikdash LeHashem, a temple for God. And this is the true redemption. This is the messianic time. This is Mashiach, and it's all up to us to bring it. So I wish you again all Shabbat Shalom and Hatzlacha to all.